The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by EdgeBoost. The bank gamble for better. Sign up today. EdgeBoost.bet, code SGPN to get a $25 deposit bonus. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's currently Thursday night, May 22nd, around 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm so Scott Reichel once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the breakdown of the semis in Geneva and in Hamburg taking place on Friday. For the actual matches, though, do want to briefly recap how the last episode, both for the lock and dog picks and for the quarterfinal matches that took place on Thursday. Starting off with the recap of the lock and dog, overall a pretty good episode for us. Ended up winning the lock. We had the Fritz and Hurkacz over, half a tiebreak at minus 110. Bit dicey, couple of chances there for both players in some return games, but none of them converted. So definitely the way we expected it being, which was one full set of holds by each player. And as a result, we ended up picking up a win for the lock. Dog, though, picked up a loss. We had a Goot team total over 12 at plus 105. Didn't work out. He lost the first set in a breaker, then got buried in a bagel in the second set against Kaboli. So once again, picked up a split, but did win the lock as we had the tiebreaker in the Fritz and Hurkacz match. Overall, once again, kind of the story that we've had for the last couple of episodes where the dogs have just not been good, but the locks have been good. So overall, can't complain too much. Wish we would sweep a bit more, but either way, the locks have been good. We'll try to keep that rolling here on the Friday matches. So moving on to the actual recap of the matches on Thursday. Before that, though, actually a reminder that you can help support the show by like subscribing on YouTube. And a reminder also the podcast is available on Spotify or Apple. So you can help the show grow no matter how you consume the pod. So please help do so, whether it involves a like and subscribing on YouTube or leaving a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Plus, a reminder, we have a discount on the merch store. If you use the code DGENS at checkout, 20% off everything in the merch store, including Tennis Gambling Podcast merch, with sweatshirts, t-shirts, and mugs. High quality, very affordable. For example, this shirt, if you want to get it on the merch store. Different colors, very comfortable. Recommend getting yourself something there on the merch store with the code DGENS at checkout for 20% off everything in the store. Moving on to the actual recap of the matches on Thursday. Starting off with the matches I ended up seeing in, you know what, we'll do the Hamburg recap first because it's in just the order of time. Starting off with the Etcheverry match against Lehecka. Got this one wrong. We thought that Lehecka would win. He did not, as Etcheverry did win in straight sets. Close first set, then eventually Etcheverry seemed to kind of wear down Lehecka as he got the job done and won in straight sets. Kaboli beat Agut in straight sets, once again 7-6, 6-0. First set was close. You saw Kaboli get broken while serving for the match, serving for the set, and you thought that maybe Agut would find a way to steal the first set. Didn't happen. Kaboli rolled through the breaker, that eventually did roll through the second set as Agut ran out of gas. So a nice win for Kaboli there. For the other two matches, though, we ended up seeing Rublev and Felix win in 3-set marathons. We got Rublev team total override. Thought that Darderi would keep the match close. He did as he won the second set, but Rublev was able to come back and win the third. Nice win there for Rublev. And then you had the crazy 3-setter between Felix and Mueller, which was embarrassing that Felix did not win in straight sets because Felix had a golden chance to win it in a more comfortable fashion. He won the first set in a breaker. Then he was up in the late stages of the second set as he was up 5-4, serving for the match, had 2 match points there, did not convert. Then he got broken, and then he had two match points in the second set breaker, 6-4 and 6-5. Did not convert either one of those. In fact, he ended up losing each of the last 4 points in the breaker. So Felix choked away 4 match points. Pretty much, I think all of them, or most of them, were on his serve, and he was not able to convert. That eventually he ended up winning anyway in the third set. Still, I'd say classic Felix and never making it easy for himself. And the fact that Felix ended up punting away 4 match points, I believe 3 of them were on his serve. It definitely screams Felix, but either way, he came back and won the third set. So I guess in hindsight for him, no harm, no foul. But damn, man, that's a rough beat for the straight set bettors for Felix. That was just rough. And there were definitely a bunch of points he could have won. It wasn't like Mueller hit some unreturnable serve or hit some great shots. Felix just punted away some shots with some points with errors, and he ended up seeing Mueller fight and claw, forcing a third set that he had no business forcing, but Felix did win in 3. Moving on to the next match we're going to talk about, which was the Geneva recap. You had the opposite of Hamburg. Hamburg was straightforward early in the day, and the last 2 matches were very competitive and went the distance. There was the opposite in Geneva because the first match was the only 3-set match of the entire card in Geneva, as Offner beat Kashanov in 3 sets, lost the first set, came back and won. We actually picked Offner to win, so we actually got the right read there for the dog. That was like plus 160 or so. Offner, though, looked like he was definitely playing great tennis throughout the entire event, as he had not dropped a set before the match against Khachanov. Then Khachanov punched him in the mouth early. Offner responded, did win in 3. Good for him. Thought Khachanov was playing okay, wasn't too sold by how he played against Nishikori, and he only advanced because of the retirement, so I was skeptical of his form. Offner jumped him in the final 2 sets and won in 3. Nice win for him. Hurkacz beat Fritz in straight sets. Hurkacz has been very good in the event so far. Still not dropping a set. Did end up not getting broken again in the entire match. So 2 straight matches for Hurkacz not getting broken, and he was able to beat Fritz, who's kind of owning the head-to-head, but Hurkacz has been looking good so far in the event, and he was able to beat Fritz. Definitely not a good match by Fritz by any means, but he ended up seeing a hold fest in the second set, en route to what ended up cashing our lock with the breaker in the second. But for the actual stats here, ended up seeing Hurkacz win 87% of the first serve points and 50% of the second serve points. Fritz only won 36% of his second serve points. That's why he was able to win the match. Anyway, you saw Djokovic beat Arnaldi in straight sets, called that one, thought that he'd get some revenge after losing Arnaldi a couple weeks ago. Looked great. I thought Djokovic seemed to be in good form after beating Fucsovics in the first round in straight sets. He beat Arnaldi in straight sets there. So once again, nice job by Djokovic. We'll see if he can close in on that ATP title. He's in the semis again. We'll see how he looks in this one. Only faced 1 break point the entire match, got broken, but still, point is he definitely was serving well, and that was the main story of the match. Won 78% of his second serve points, which is very impressive. But either way, Arnaldi did not return well enough to get the job done, and Joker did win in straight sets. Moving on to the last match, you saw Norrie outlast Papirin in what was a very entertaining match, as it was 7-6, 6-4. Said the last episode, it was a battle of styles, and you ended up seeing Papirin have a chance there in the first set, as he was serving for the set, got broken, then lost it, and then eventually Norrie got the break midway through the second set, held out, and Norrie did win at 7-6, 6-4. Close match, good win for Norrie, but I definitely think that Papirin probably should have won the first set there before imploding, and Norrie kind of dominated from that point forward. So once again, not many insanely dramatic matches. The Felix one was dramatic for the second set. Then Felix got the break immediately in the third set and coasted. But still definitely crazy. The Rublev one was straightforward in the third set as well. And Offner was competitive too. But felt like most matches were kind of straightforward. You had a competitive set in pretty much each of them. As out of the straight set matches, there were 4 of them. 3 of them had a 7-5 or 7-6 set. So at least you had some competitive sets of tennis. But for the most part, not too much drama. We'll see if that changes here for the actual matches in the semis on Friday. Before we get into any of those matches, a reminder that we are brought to you by our sponsor, which is EdgeJuice, because they're first-ever bank account for bettors. They're ensuring that all your gambling transactions are approved, no usage fees, no imbalance or cash rewards, 100% approval. For all deposits, sign up today. EdgeJuice.bet, code SGPN. When you deposit $25, EdgeJuice deposit, EdgeJuice.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Arctic Fans because they just launched their new promo going along for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus in Hop in Game 1. Longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. And a reminder, you can also sign up for your new account with the promo code SGPN to get a special pick and a first time deposit offer up to 1K bonus cash on fantasy promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finish recapping what happened on Thursday. Time to move on into the preview of the semifinal matches in Hamburg and in Geneva. Starting off with Geneva. Geneva is going to be starting at around 8 a.m. and Hamburg starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So we're going to go with Geneva first. First match on the card for Geneva, you have Offner against Hurkacz. Now, Hurkacz is minus 215 on money line. Offner is plus 180, give or take. For the spread, minus 2.5 for Hurkacz and minus 120, plus 2.5 for Offner at even money. For the over-under, I see 23.5 games. The over is even money. The under is minus 120. For the, once again, set spread, you have Hurkacz in straight sets at around plus 135. You have Offner plus 1.5 sets at minus 165. The over 2.5 sets is around plus 130. Faced off one time before, but it was a long time ago on clay in 2016 in a futures event, and Hurkacz won in straight sets. Doesn't matter at all. That was about 9 years ago. Just wanted to mention it. Only meeting they've ever had. Now, Offner has been playing good tennis recently when they're qualifying. Made it all the way through to the semis after beating Khachanov in the quarters. Also, looked pretty decent in Rome. Beat Baena, beat Tiafoe, then lost to Cerundolo in that one. But the point is, going through qualifying, he's made it into some pretty respectable runs in Rome and Geneva back-to-back. We'll see how he looks in this one. As for Hurkacz, he's been very good. Came back from injury after a layoff in... Once again, he played Madrid, didn't do that well. Then he took some time off, and then he ended up looking pretty good in Rome. Won 3 matches, beating Martinez, beating Giron, beating Mensik, and then lost to Paul in the, I believe that was the quarters of that event. And then for Geneva, beat Kaza, ended up beating Rinderknech and beat Fritz, not dropping a set. He's been great. He's not gotten broken in the last 2 matches. Serving has been very, very impressive, and it seems like the courts are playing a bit faster than expected in Geneva, which has worked to Hurkacz's benefit. At the end of the day, I do think you're looking at a spot where Hurkacz, I think, should be a bigger favorite personally. I get the argument that Offner's been in good form, but Hurkacz has been really good, beating Fritz, a guy who's kind of owned him historically speaking, and not really getting broken. I think it's the story of the match here. Offner has not really been serving that well in the event. His first serve percentage has been pretty weak. He's only landing about 49.5% of his first serves, which is not ideal when Hurkacz has been returning underratedly well so far in the event. And I do think if Hurkacz is going to hold out in every service game, Offner needs to have his serve in order, and so far it has not. And what could be a potential marathon involving sets with potentially 2 breakers, I'll go with Hurkacz in straight sets. I think there's value here at plus 135. I think Hurkacz, as long as he keeps serving this well, should find some chances to break. Offner's first serve has been a mess, and I do think Hurkacz has been returning well enough to find openings in the actual return games, at least in a couple per set. Might be all he needs. Give me Hurkacz straight sets in this one as my main thought at plus money. Ginger asked if I'm sneaking picks at the basketball games. I'm actually not. I'm actually going through this without peeking. I'll check in a second, but I did see the Thunder were winning early in the first quarter, and I saw that the Sky were down, I think, 20 at the half. But I haven't really been looking since we started recording the show. Anyway, point is going to be Hurkacz in that one of the first match of the semifinals in Geneva. Moving on to the next match, you have Djokovic against Norrie, which has been a very one-sided head-to-head history. Joker's minus 720 on the money line. Norrie is plus 500 for the spread, minus 4.5 for Djokovic, plus 4.5 for Norrie. A little bit of juice there on the minus 4.5 and minus 120. Over-unders at 20.5. You can find 21.5 though if you want to take an alt line there if you want so. But either way, a point is you can find Joker straight sets at minus 185. You can find Norrie to win a set at plus 145. Over 2.5 sets is plus 195. Now, Joker, said before, has been dominant in the head-to-head history, as Joker has actually won 4 of the head-to-head meetings out of 4. He's never lost. In fact, he's only dropped 1 set in their careers. Joker has actually not dropped more than 4 games in a set in 9 of the 10 career sets. It has been very lopsided. The only set that Norrie won was the first set of the semis in Wimbledon back in 2022, and then Joker dominated the last 3 sets. The point is, Joker has been incredible in the head-to-head history against Norrie. Norrie has been good in the event, though. Going through qualifying, actually, beating Stricker, beating Makic in retirement, ended up beating Papirin in a competitive straight set win. Joker, though, has been good. Had a bye, beat Fuchsovics in straight sets, and beat Arnaldi in straight sets. The problem that Norrie has is really the lack of weapons against Djokovic. We know that Norrie is a very steady player. He's a lefty who keeps the ball in play, uses some topspin, and tries to, once again, not hit many errors. The problem is he really can't hit past his opponent, and his serve's not that great. So Joker, who's been playing well in the fast courts here in Geneva, should really have a phenomenal matchup against Norrie, and he has been very good against Norrie in the past. I think this line actually makes sense. Joker looks like he's playing good enough tennis to win the title, and I do think Norrie, who's been winning, still has some issues against Joker, because Joker just has too much firepower for him and too much consistency, and he's a much better server. It comes down to a lack of weapons for Norrie. I just don't see any weapons he possesses that actually threaten Joker. And if Joker plays well as he did against Fuchsovics and against Arnaldi, I see a similar script to what we saw in those first 2 rounds. I see a potential 6-4, 6-3 type matchup. I think Norrie is outclassed here. Yes, it was impressive to make it into the semis from qualifying, but I think Joker, who was playing really bad tennis, fired Murray, moved on with his life. He's looked good. So I'll go with Joker in this one in straight sets. Don't mind the team total under for Norrie, the under in the match. Once again, we've not seen a breaker. We've not seen a 7-5 in the 10 career sets. Think Joker dominates here. Give me the team total under for Norrie and give me the under in games for this one as well. Trying to cut in on the juice of Joker straight sets to minus 185. Bit too juicy for me. If you want to parlay with something, sure, but I'll go with the team total under instead as my pivot. Moving on to the matchups in Hamburg in the semis here on Friday. Starting off with the first matchup, Two good ones, by the way, on paper. You have Etcheverry against Caboli. Now, Etcheverry's favored, actually, in this one, as he's around minus 136. Caboli is plus 116. For the spread in games, minus 1.5 for Etcheverry, plus 1.5 for Caboli. The over-under in games is set at 22.5. For the set spread, you have the over 2.5 sets, by the way, at plus 133. You have the straight set win for Etcheverry, plus 195. The Caboli straight set win at plus 250. For that history, they faced off a couple of times, actually, and has been pretty interesting. Etcheverry is actually 4 in a lifetime, but 3 of the 4 meetings have not ended in straight sets. The only clay meeting was in Italy in a challenger event about 3 years ago. Etcheverry did win in 3 sets. Opponents Caboli should be a dog here based on that dominance that Etcheverry has. However, does feel like both guys are pretty similar in terms of play style and firepower. I can see a close matchup here. I think it should be competitive. I think Etcheverry should find a way to win. Caboli looked great as the match progressed against Agut. Seemed like Agut, though, ran out of gas. And you're looking at Etcheverry, who beat Leheshka, ended up beating Comasagna, beating some good players. I think you're looking at Etcheverry, who should be favored. I understand it. The problem with Etcheverry is that he has never won a title on the ATP level. We know that he's lost in a couple finals. So I think you're looking at a guy who should find a way to win again in the head-to-head. But the fact remains, minus 136 for a guy that's 4-0 in the head-to-head, I think is a very good price. Give me Etcheverry in this one. If you want to go for the over 2.5 sets, chasing the head-to-head history, which is 3 of the 4 meetings and not ending in straight sets, I don't hate it, but 3 of those 4 meetings were on clay, and the only clay meeting did go to a deciding set. Don't mind it, but give me Etcheverry in 3 if I had to pick it. Don't mind the Etcheverry team total over as well, but I'll go with the money line instead at minus 136 as my main thought for that one. Moving on to the last match of the card for Friday, matchup between Felix and Rublev, potentially the match of the day. For this one, you have what should be a very, I'd say, competitive battle based on the head-to-head history and based on the form of both guys. Rublev, though, is minus 120. Felix is plus 100. For the spread, minus half a game for Rublev, plus half a game for Felix. The over-under is at 23.5. For the set spread, you have Rublev in straight sets at plus 200. You have Felix to win in straight sets at plus 230. The over 2.5 sets is around plus 125. The history has been very close, faced off actually earlier this year in Doha, and we saw Rublev win in 3, but they have faced off a lot in their careers already. They faced off a grand total of 7 times, and 6 of those 7 meetings have gone to a deciding set. In fact, every meeting has actually gone over this total of 23.5, 24.5, as the only straight set win was by Rublev 7-5, 7-6. So historically speaking, bet the over and bet the over 2.5 sets. Seems like to be the actual approach here for this one. For the Pat, though, both guys, Felix won in 3 sets. Should have been straight sets against Mueller, but a win is a win. Did beat Perricard comfortably and ended up beating Altmaier comfortably as well. For Rublev, had a 3-set win against Darderi, beat Engel, and beat DeZumer. So both guys have dropped a set, but I think we'd agree that Felix has faced off against better competition, beating Perricard and beating Mueller, where Rublev beat Darderi, who's solid, Engel, who's a teenager, who should be good, but not yet in his career, and DeZumer, who's fine. But the point is, both guys have been pretty up and down so far, especially in the last match we saw on Thursday with their quarterfinals, kind of coming down to the final set. I think you're looking at what should be a close matchup. I think Felix has some value on the money line, solely because I don't trust Rublev enough to be laying. This might be a matchup where whoever was the dog, I would take it. But I think you're looking at what should be a fun matchup. Don't mind the over. I see chaos here. The bet I would make would be the team totals. I think you're looking at what could be a 3-set marathon. Don't mind the team total over. For both guys, maybe. If you want to go for the Caesar same game parlay for the team totals. Let me see what I can get, but I think it's a good way of finding a better price for the over 2.5 sets, because you might end up seeing a breaker in there, maybe a, once again, competitive 3-setter where it's full of 6-4s, who knows. But I see a close matchup coming down to the wire. I do think over 2.5 sets is the way to go based on history, but once again, the actual pricing for the 3 sets, you can find at about plus 135. Not bad, but if you parlay the over 12.5 games of the team total for both guys on Caesars, you'll get plus 194, which is a great price. If it goes 3, I think both guys will serve well enough to go over the team totals. Plus 135 is fine. Plus 194, though, is a great price. I'll go with that as my main thought for this one. Give me the same game parlay. Give me Rublev team total over 12.5 with Felix team total over 12.5 at plus 194 on Caesars. Anyway, let's wrap it up for the actual episode for the match previews. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. Before we get into the Lock and Dog, though, a reminder that we're brought to you by our sponsor, which is Rhythm, because they're the home of AA Bet picks and props. We're available for the NBA playoffs, for the NHL playoffs, for golf for MLB. They also have WNBA if you're interested in that. Free trial for a week as well if you do join right now with the link I'll mention in a second. They also have discount codes. If you use the code SGPN25, get 25% off the monthly subscription. And a reminder, 50% off the annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. It's rhythm promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50 for a discount. A reminder, sign up for the free trial by using the link sportscampus.com/RITHMM. We're also brought to you by Circle Ultimate Fantasy Bowl Giveaway because Circle Resort and Casino, Las Vegas, giving away the Ultimate Fantasy Bowl experience for a 12-person league in Vegas for the draft. You could also get a 2-night stay at Circle Resort and Casino for the entire 12-person league. Have the draft at Cabana Stadium Swim with a $5K food and beverage credit, and a reminder, limited transportation to from the airport, and much more. The contest is open from May 5th to June 30th. Sign up at the link sportscampus.com Circa, sportscampus.com/CIRCA. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag because they're the book to every sport. They have the playoffs, the NHL playoffs. They have tennis. They have UFC, baseball, you name it. They also are available in a ton of locations. Use crypto, funding payouts, use deposits. When you do sign up for your new account, though, use the promo code SGPN at sign up for 100% match up to 1K. Terms and conditions apply. MyBookie.ag promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through all the matches for the semis in Geneva and in Hamburg. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. For the lock, and go back to the Djokovic match against Norrie taking place in Geneva. Give me the Norrie team total under 8.5 games, -115. Not going to overthink this. Joker straight sets -185. Do like the ability to reduce the juice by 70 cents. Joker has looked great. He's not dropped a set yet. Be pretty good competition in Fucsovics and Arnaldi, and none of those sets had more than 10 games in them. So I do think that Djokovic has been dominant. I think Norrie should struggle in this matchup. He's never been good in the head-to-head against Joker. Joker has won less than Norrie's won less than 5 games in 9 of the 10 career sets. So I think that Norrie, once again, might get destroyed here. Might see a 6-3, 6-4, something like that. But you're looking at what could be a potential breaker, maybe. And even if that does happen, Joker can win a set 6-2. It's not unheard of. So you're looking at Norrie losing this in a couple of ways. I don't see him winning a set. I see Joker winning in straight sets. But -185 is a bit too expensive. I think this is a good way to reduce the juice. And I do think it is the best approach of how to bet this match. Give me Djokovic to dominate, but give me Norrie team total under as my bet here at 8.5 at -115. For the dog, I'm going to go with the same tournament, actually. Give me the Hurkacz straight sets bet at +135. I like the price. He's been serving very well. He's been playing very well. He's not dropped a set yet in the entire tournament, and I do think when you're looking at Hurkacz, who has been serving bombs left and right, I think our Offner's going to have some problems keeping pace. Offner has not been landing that many first serves. He's actually faulting more often than landing his first serve right now in the event, as he's only landing 49.5% of his first serves. Not what you want to see for a guy that's facing off against an absolute machine serving on the other end, who is going to be really tough to break. Offner might break himself potentially in a game or two if the first serve is never there, faults in, let's say, 3 out of the 6 points in a game. That's a lot of looks at a second serve, and I think that Hurkacz has been playing well. The movement looks good. Think he's just the better player here, and I understand Offner has played well. Kashanov's a good win, even though he kind of was lucky to actually beat Nishikori in the first place. Offner, though, I think is playing a guy who's better than him. Simply put, like the price. Give me Hurkacz in straight sets at +135 as my dog. So once again, the plays here for the semis in Hamburg and Geneva. Going to be 2 Geneva matches, actually, for the lock and dog. Give me Norrie team total under 8.5 -115 for the lock and -115. And once again, give me the Hurkacz straight sets win at +135 as my dog. That's going to wrap it up, though. Back once again for the finals in Geneva and in Hamburg. Then we move on to the French Open previews. I know the draws were released today, I believe, so keep that in mind, with the exception of a couple qualifier spots still up for grabs, but still the main bulk of the draw has been released, so hopefully, once again, you've been checking it out. We'll get into the French Open, though, this weekend. 2 episodes. We have the women's preview and the men's preview, so keep an eye out for that with futures, quarters, you name it. But until next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.